Hi, I'm Kerry Kirkham, and you're Sipping with the Wine Fox. With me today is 2014 Hollywood Classic Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, this is not going to be a typical Wine Fox review because this is not a typical wine. This wine is very personal to me and it has quite a story. This wine came into my possession via my father, retired fire captain Larry Kirkham. It comes from our family's longtime ophthalmologist who grows the grapes for this wine. And he gave it to my father to give to me because he was curious about my professional opinion about his wine. So I put it in my cellar where I had it on its side under perfect cellar conditions. And I figured, I'll get to it eventually. Well, I got a text today from my father, and he said, would you please try Dr. York's wine? I'm going to go see him on Monday, and I'd love to be able to tell him what you thought about it. So I said, fine, I'll give it a try. So I texted him back, sure, Dad, no problem. So when I picked up the bottle, I noticed that the punt was nice and deep, and the glass was really heavy. Now, I know a thing or two about wine packaging from being an apprentice winemaker. I had to source the glass labels, corks, and foils for the winery. So I know how much things cost, and I know where to get them. Very familiar with all the options that are out there. So when I cut the foil, I noticed that the foil was very heavy. This was not a flimsy foil. This is a very firm, high-end foil. And when I pulled the cork, I knew right away this was a special wine. I did not do my due diligence ahead of time to find out just how special this wine was. I knew it was going to be good. I just didn't know how good it was going to be. And I wish I had done my research before I opened the bottle, because I would have opened it with friends at a dinner as a showcase bottle. But I'm sharing it with my father-in-law, and we're both enjoying it, so it's not wasted. But let me give you a little pointer on corks. This cork came from a $300 100-point Napa Cab. It's a beautiful cork, nice and smooth, not a lot of marks on it. Gorgeous cork, very good quality. This is the cork that came out of Hollywood Classic Cabernet Sauvignon. Now look at the length. The Hollywood Classic Cabernet Sauvignon cork is considerably longer. What this tells me is that the winemaker and the grape grower invested in great packaging to protect a precious commodity. This also tells me that the winemaker and grape grower are signaling that you can age this wine for a little bit longer than most wines. I will tell you that this wine is ready to drink now with a little aerating pour. It's beautiful, but it probably could be aged for a while. It's a good quality wine. So let's talk about where the grapes were sourced. These grapes were sourced from 6 acres of meticulously tended vineyard. It was planted in 2001 on a steep hillside at an elevation between 1,000 and 1,300 feet. It grows 13 miles from the Pacific Ocean, where the grapes benefit from cool evening maritime breezes and maybe fog every now and again, but it gets full sun in the daytime. It's the ideal condition for growing Cab. And these grapes were planted in virgin soil, full of minerals, ready to nurture the vines. Now, this steep hillside is at the base of Mount Lee in Hollywood, California, in the shadow of the Hollywood sign. This is my personal terroir. I was born and raised in Southern California, and I grew up about 32 miles from the Hollywood sign. But what does it taste like? Dark plum, a little bit of peppercorn. I get slate and leather, like a new Louis Vuitton handbag or purse. Handbag, purse, wallet. It has that really nice leather quality. Not a gamey leather, but a fine leather. And that also applies to the tannins, which are very fine. The wine evolves on the palate like a circle. There are no rough edges. There are no obvious points where it's like this strongly tastes of one thing or another. It transforms beautifully. When I was an apprentice winemaker and a journalist for the wine trade, some amazing cult wines washed across my palate. I had no idea how lucky I was at the time because I was just starting out. I started out as an apprentice and moved on to being a on-staff journalist. And I had amazing cult wines that were not easily available. And this reminds me of those days. It is a beautiful bottle of wine. It runs about $200 a bottle. Only 100 cases were made. And it's only available through an email list, a club, a wine club. I have 3 words. Sign me up. Maybe I'll add another word, please. This is a beautiful wine. I've also had Dr. York's Sauvignon Blanc, which was very much like a white Bordeaux. So forget what you know about California Sauvignon Blanc. Hollywood Classic Sauvignon Blanc was exactly like a white Bordeaux. It was gorgeous. There is so much going on. Nice, full body, good acidity. I could drink the whole bottle. It's so good. All right, to that I say cheers, Dr. York, and carpe uvum.